We need to find out the methods to find out non-orthogonal components as well as orthogonal or rectangular components. The non-orthogonal components can be found out using a certain methods. Let us see how to do that. We have a force system F and we want to find out the components of F, P and Q which are not at right angles, and therefore they are non-orthogonal components. Here there is another force system F1, and we want to find out the orthogonal components P1 and Q1. Let us try to understand how to find out non-orthogonal components using a problem set. We have two axes AA and BB. Look at these axes carefully. AA and BB are not at 90 degrees, and therefore they will be producing non-orthogonal components. We have a force of 40 kilonewtons and we want to find out its components parallel to AA and BB which are at 50 degrees. You can do that using both the parallelogram as well as the triangle law. We will not discuss a parallelogram here, but I have put this problem under both the rigorous methods of parallelogram and triangle in order to show you which is preferable under what circumstances. For the parallelogram, you will be drawing F1, F2, diagonal R will give you the magnitude of the resultant and the angle. Now this is how you will be doing the parallelogram. You will be able to find out F1 and F2. As against that, look at the triangle law. I start that same problem using the two forces F1 and F2 and the resultant. The forces Fa and 40 kilonewtons are at 25 degrees and 45 degrees with respect to the x-axis. So I have drawn tip to toe each of the forces. Then I will be applying the sine rule. For the sine rule, you have a 40 kilonewton force divided by the sine of the opposite angle, that is sine of 50, should be equal to Fb, which is not known to us, over sine of the opposite angle, which is 20. 45 minus 25 is going to be 20. You are able to get Fb. Once again, apply the same sine rule. 40 divided by sine of 50 should be equal to Fa divided by sine of the opposite angle. Opposite angle will be 180 minus 50 minus 20 is equal to Fa divided by sine 120. The summation of all these angles is 110 degrees. You will be able to find out the value of Fa once again very clearly. Therefore, the triangle law gives a simpler solution than the parallelogram law. Another example to find out the components. This is a mast which is held in place, a huge tower, a tall tower which is held in place by two strings. You know the weight of the tower, which is equal to 100 kilonewtons, and you want to find out how much should F1 and F2 be. So draw the force triangle once again. Now this is a simple figure. Here you have the weight of the mast. You have the forces F1 and F2 acting at 30 degrees and at 20 degrees. Draw the force triangle as you have already seen it. F1 to the tip of F1, draw F2, and the resultant is going to be in the direction opposite, which is equal to 100 kilonewtons, the weight of the mast. Apply the sine rule. 100 divided by sine of opposite angle is equal to F1 divided by sine of the opposite angle is equal to F2 divided by the sine of the opposite angle, that is 100 upon sine 130, F1 upon sine 20, F2 upon sine 30. Automatically you will be able to find out the force F1 and F2. Rectangular components. As we have seen earlier, rectangular components will always be either in the x direction or in the y direction. Both x and y direction are at 90 degrees to each other. You are very familiar with all the trigonometric laws. F will be resolved into components Fx and Fy along x and y axis. How will you do that? As we have seen, fx is equal to f cos theta, trigonometry. Fy, the vertical component, is going to be equal to f sin theta. So f will be under root fx square plus fy square, and the angle which f forms with any one of the axes will be given from the equation tan theta is equal to fy by fx. Let us try to resolve into rectangular components this force system. This is a plain block. The block is on an inclined axis. The axis, let's say, is OA. The first problem is you want to find out the components of 100 kilonewtons which are parallel and perpendicular to axis OA. The second part of the problem is find out the components of 100 kilonewtons which are parallel and perpendicular to OB. Let us start the first part. Here is the figure showing the forces 100 kilonewton force, and you are interested in finding out the components FOA which is parallel to OA and FOA dash which is perpendicular to the axis OA. You already know the angles which the force is forming with the axis, and therefore FOA is going to be 100 cos 45. You get the value. FOA dash is going to be 100 sin 45. You will get the value here. The next part of the problem is find out the components parallel to OB axis and perpendicular to the OB axis. Here we are bringing that axis right up to the point where the 100 kilonewton force is being applied. So let us try to understand that now. The 100 kilonewton force was acting at 45 degrees to OA. OA is at 30 degrees to OB. So the total angle is going to be 45 plus 30, 75 degrees. Now your problem becomes very simple. The x component parallel to OB is going to be 100 cos 75 degrees, and the perpendicular component to OB is going to be 100 sin 75 degrees, that is 96.6. So this gives you an idea of how to find out rectangular components parallel to any axis systems. So far we have talked only about two forces, and therefore the problems were quite simple in the sense that you either have to resolve them along x-axis or y-axis, or in case of an inclined axis at any angle you have to find out only two components. What happens in the real life when the system is under the action of many forces? Here once again I have shown only three forces, but there is a possibility that there will be many forces acting on a system. So let us try to understand what happens when there are more than two forces and how to find out the resultant force system. So this is a system where you have a force P, a force Q and a force S. If you try to use the previous methods, what you will have to do is find out the resultant of P and S. Then using that resultant, find out the resultant of R and Q to get the final force system. Very tedious and very lengthy process. Instead, the better solution would be, let us take the same system, P, Q and S. Resolve force along its horizontal and vertical components. Resolve Q along its horizontal and vertical components, and resolve S into its horizontal and vertical components. Mathematically, the problem has been resolved into a very simple process. You can add up all the horizontal components along x-axis. Similarly, you can add up all the vertical components along the y-axis. So, in fact, what you are going to do is, if you want to find out the horizontal component Rx, let us say, then Rx is going to be the summation of Px, Sx and Qx. Similarly, Ry is going to be the summation of Py, Sy and Qy. In this particular case, Sx is going to be negative. When you put the value, it will have a negative sign because it is acting in a direction opposite to the x-axis, positive. It is acting opposite to both Px and Qx. Similarly, For the y forces, the direction of the forces in the y direction, Py as we see is in the positive y direction, Qy is in the negative y direction, and Sy is once again in the positive y direction. So here Py will have a positive sign, Qy will have a negative sign, and Sy will be positive. Everything said and done, you are able to get the summation of all the horizontal forces and the summation of all the vertical forces. This system has now been reduced to these two forces, Rx and Ry. Very simple. Rx is going to be equal to the summation of all the forces. Ry is going to be the summation of all the vertical forces. So the complex system, let us say this is only 3 forces. If there had been 5, 6, 10 forces, this is what you need to do every time. Resolve into horizontal components, resolve into vertical components. The resultant will be all summed up into either Rx and Ry. The last step, find out R. How much will R be? Under root Rx square plus Ry square. But because it is a force, you are not just satisfied with the magnitude. You need to find out the magnitude as well as the direction at which it is acting, and therefore tan theta. Tan theta will be given by Ry divided by Rx. Your solution is now complete. You are able to replace this entire system of P, Q and S forces by a force R, whose magnitude is given by under root Rx square plus Ry square, and whose direction is given by tan theta equals Ry by Rx. Problem. This is once again a bracket which is held in place by 3 strings or 3 cables. You want to find out what happens if we replace all of these by a single force. First of all, you need to find out what are the components of each of these forces. So let us take the 30 kilonewton force, the 65 kilonewton force and the 85 kilonewton force. You are able to resolve each of these into their horizontal and vertical components. Say 30 cos 45 is the horizontal, 30 sin 45 is the vertical, 65 cos 35 is the horizontal, 65 sin 35 is the vertical component, and 85 cos 50 is the horizontal, 85 sin 50 is the vertical component. The same figures once again, and put them all into the table. You have each of these forces 30, 65 and 85 listed over here. The horizontal component for the 30 kilonewton force is in the positive x direction. 30 cos 45 will be 21.21. For 65, once again in the positive x direction, so it has a positive sign. The 85 horizontal component is once again in the positive x direction, 54.63. Summation of all of these will give you the x component, Rx. Y components for the 30 kilonewton force, positive y direction again for 65. So you have a positive 21.21, a positive 37.28. But for the 85 Newton force, you have a negative y direction which carries a negative sign convention. Once again, find out the summation. You have your component Ry. Once you have Rx and Ry, you can find out the magnitude of R very easily as under root Rx square plus Ry square, that is 129. The direction of R will be given once again by tan theta of Ry by Rx, which is 2.935. Here is the resultant force, which is required to replace all of these forces and to have still the same effect. If you apply R of 129.07 newtons at an angle of 2.935 in the positive x direction and the negative y direction, then the system will behave exactly in the same manner as under the effect of the 30 Newton, 65 Newton and 85 Newton forces. Another cable, a few more forces. You have a 400 Newton, 250 Newton and 200 Newton forces. You want to find out the resultant which will be acting on this rod. The resultant will be the force which can replace all of these forces. Let us see what we have to do. find out the summation of all the x components, find out the summation of all the y components, which we have shown over here. You have the 400 Newton force, which is already in the x direction. The 250 Newton force has to be resolved into its vertical and horizontal components. Once again, the 200 Newton force into its vertical and horizontal components. Once you have resolved all of them, you will add the positive x-axis and the negative x-axis. So you have minus 400 plus 250 sine 45 and minus 200 4 by 5. Similarly, all the positive y-axis and there is nothing in the negative y-axis, which gives you the y component. You are able to find out the resultant r and its angle theta, 37.8 degrees. This is how it is going to act. Angle theta is 37.8 with the negative y-axis. So, we come to the next terminology. We have studied about composition of forces, we have studied about resolution of forces, and the third concept for coplanar forces is the concept of equilibrium. Now, if we find out, we already know by now how to find out the resultant of several forces. Once we have found out the resultant of all the forces which are acting on a system, and if that resultant works out to be 0, that means the net effect of all these forces is 0 on that particular body or that particular particle. Then that particle is said to be in equilibrium. That means, very simply put, the effect of all these forces is neutralized by each other. Very simple example to understand. Let us take this particle and there is a force F acting towards a positive x-axis direction. If there is also a force F dash having the same value as F but in the opposite direction to F, then naturally both of these are going to neutralize each other. The net effect on this particle is going to be 0. Whenever the net effect of a system of forces acting on a body or on a particle is 0, then that body or that particle is said to be in equilibrium. That brings us to the concept of a particle or a body which is acted upon by several forces. Let us say here this system, this is a box which is acted upon by a force F1, F2, F3 and F4.